Good morning, everyone. I'll just say this again. Thank you for joining us. If you could put your name and your grade in the chat feature. And if you are not a student, please give us what organization or business that you're with.
Or just your name too, if you're not with an organization or a business and you are just a local job seeker.
Yes. Okay, I think we're good to go.
All right, well, good morning, everyone.
Hi, Eric.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining WorkSource and the Apple STEM Network for today's Meet the Employer. We are so thankful to have Kristen Ackerman, Eastern Washington Regional Coordinator with the Pacific Northwest Trail Association, with us to share some great information about PNTA's awesome work and volunteer opportunities. Before we dive in, I wanted to share how the Zoom event will work. To keep noise levels to a minimum, all microphones will be muted during the presentation. At the end of the presentation, we will have some dedicated time for questions. You will have an opportunity to share your questions through the chat feature by clicking the chat button on the bottom of your screen or by raising your hand. We will call in folks who raise their hand and enable their audio so that they can ask their questions. For anyone who is joining us on Facebook Live, welcome. Please use the comments section to ask any questions that you may have. Now it is my pleasure to turn it over to Kristen Ackerman from Pacific Northwest Trail Association to introduce herself and kick off her presentation. Good morning, Kristen.
Good morning. Thanks, Christy. And thank you so much to all the folks at WorkSource and the Apple STEM Network for organizing and hosting this virtual event. And thanks for all you guys do in our community and invaluable services you guys provide. And thank you to all of you who are joining us to tune in and learn more about trail crews with the Pacific Northwest Trail Association. A quick introduction. Like you all know, I'm Kristen, and I began working for the Pacific Northwest Trail Association as an assistant crew leader in 2012. I co-led trail crews for 7 seasons, and now I serve as the regional coordinator for Eastern Washington. The PNTA is a nonprofit organization responsible for protecting and promoting the Pacific Northwest National Scenic Trail, or PNT for short. If you haven't heard of the PNT yet, the Pacific Northwest Trail is one of our newest scenic routes in the national trail system. The idea for the PNT was hatched in the 1970s, but it wasn't officially designated as a national scenic trail until 2009. For those of you who like to travel, it is worth noting that experience that you can gain on a PNTA trail crew may be the beginning of a career path that can take you just about anywhere in the country. The Pacific Northwest Trail is a roughly 1,200-mile non-motorized recreation route between the Rocky Mountains in Glacier National Park, Montana, and the Pacific Coast, Cape Alaba specifically, which is the westernmost point in the lower 48 states. Or as we like to say, the PNT runs from crown to coast. It's one of our most rugged and wild national trails, traveling against the grain over 7 mountain ranges and across remote valleys in between. If you'd like to learn more about the route of the PNT and the diverse landscapes it traverses, you can download maps from our website, pnt.org. FYI, PNTA headquarters is located in Sedro-Woolley, which is where our Western Washington crews are based out of, while our Eastern Washington crews work the trail between the Washington-Idaho border and the Pasayten Wilderness in Okanogan County. PNTA crews can rendezvous anywhere in this region, wherever it makes the most sense for the project and the team. But our staff in Eastern Washington do tend to work out of the Three Rivers Ranger Station in Kettle Falls. One of the PNTA's primary objectives is to maintain and construct the Pacific Northwest Trail. FYI, the PNT is not complete yet. The route still includes miles of road walk between sections of trail. So consider that job security because our work has only just begun. We maintain and construct the PNT through 3 trail crew programs: performance crew, work-based learning experiences, and volunteer work parties. I'll tell you a little bit about each one. Performance crew is our professional trail crew program. The PNTA hires crew members to work full-time during the summer, from late June to mid-August. Performance crew members are fully compensated, including meals. They typically work 4 double work weeks per season. They work 80 hours for 8 days in the field, Then they take 4 to 6 days off for the weekend before their next trip. Trail crews camp near their project during the work week, then return home on weekends. We usually car camp at undeveloped sites near a trailhead. Sometimes we get to journey into the backcountry to service more remote sections of the trail, in which case crew members must backpack into a wilderness base camp, usually with pack support from volunteers and our friends at the Backcountry Horsemen. PNTA provides transportation to the work site. Meet with your team at a rendezvous location at the beginning of the work week. Then the whole crew travels together in a PNTA vehicle, and then you're brought back to rendezvous at the end of the work week. Rendezvous locations can vary by project. However, you generally need to be prepared to commute to and from the default rendezvous location in Kettle Falls at the start and end of each work week. The performance crew member role is an entry-level position. No experience is required. Serving as a trail crew member is a great first job, a fun and challenging adventure that'll build your outdoor skills and confidence. And if you've had other work experiences, trail crew is a great place to start if you're considering a career in conservation. Or if you're just looking for a job that gets you outdoors and keeps you active and fit. Trail crew is a natural first step towards careers in landscaping, forestry, agriculture, and natural resource management. Trail crew is a great way to test your mettle if you're considering a career in wildland firefighting, the military, disaster relief, or any job that requires endurance, discipline, and teamwork. Trail crew experience is also relevant to any career fields related to the outdoors, recreation, and health, including physical education, outdoor guides, wilderness therapy, wilderness medicine, and search and rescue. If you're not ready for a full-time job on a professional trail crew, you can still make a difference and get a taste of the trail crew life via a work-based learning experience. Work-based learning students participate in a single trip or project anytime between May and September. Students are typically part-time volunteer and compensated part-time for their hands-on learning experience, including meals for overnight trips. Work-based learning projects are always in the front country, a little bit easier to access than our performance jobs. Anyone interested in a PNTA learning experience needs to apply through their school's work-based learning program. Reach out to your school counselor or administrators to inquire more about your options for work-based learning experiences. Another way you can make a difference and experience the unique satisfaction of trail crewing is to participate in a volunteer trail work party. The PNTA offers day work parties and multi-day trips for volunteers nearly every week from May through September. Volunteer work parties are open to a wide range of age groups, and typically no experience is required. Volunteering on trails offers nearly all the same benefits as serving on a professional crew, but with less time commitment and a more flexible schedule. The PNTA can even design volunteer events tailored to your specific group. What's more, volunteering on a trail crew builds skills and experience that you can leverage later if you ever decide to apply to a professional crew or a related job. To learn more about volunteering with the PNTA, visit pnt.org/volunteer or visit pnt.org/events to check out the events calendar and events map and find a trail work party near you. I should also mention that the PNTA hires crew leaders to work full-time from May through September or sometimes even October-ish. Any of the crew member roles I mentioned, performance crew, work-based learning, volunteer work parties, these are experiences that can increase your qualifications to serve as a PNTA crew leader. You could stick around and enjoy a satisfying career in trail stewardship with the PNTA, or use your experience on PNTA trail crews professionally and as a volunteer to open doors to career opportunities across the nation, not only in the national trails community, but also generally in the fields of conservation, natural resource management, and more. Now that you know there are job and volunteer opportunities with the Pacific Northwest Trail Association, and hopefully you have a sense of why you might enjoy trail crewing, you might ask, what is the PNTA looking for in crew members? You can find comprehensive job descriptions on our website, pnt.org/jobs. The bottom line, though, is that while some outdoor experience would be beneficial, no experience is necessary to begin working as a crew member. You simply need to be physically able to perform the work, be available to live and camp at your work site, be able to arrive to rendezvous on time and ready to work, and have an adventurous heart, a love for the outdoors, and a positive attitude. By the way, if you aren't well equipped with camp gear right now, don't let that stop you from applying. Come talk to me about what we may be able to lend you from the PNTA's gear library. To learn more about the PNTA's seasonal crew member positions, you can visit our website, pnt.org/jobs. Scroll down to the position you're interested in and click on that job type. And that's where you'll find the job description, frequently asked questions, packing checklists, suggestions, and more, including our easy to fill out employment application form online. Heads up, our online application is a Google form. So if your only option is to apply from a campus or a location where Google products are forbidden, then you can simply email a resume and cover letter to jobs@pnt.org, and we'll write back to you with some of our standard questions from the application. All right, thanks for your time and attention, everyone. I'm going to open the floor now to your questions. Give you a couple minutes to type them in the chat box. And while you're typing in your questions, I'll scroll through some before and after photos of trail maintenance to give you a sense of some of the work that we do when trail crews repair and maintain the tread, which is the surface of a trail. Thank you.
And if we have anybody joining us live on Facebook, please feel free to chat your questions into the comment box, and we will get to those as well. And to answer one question that did quickly come up in the chat, if you are looking for where the chat button is, you should be able to find it on the bottom of your screen in about the middle of the screen.
Any questions yet?
Not yet, but if anyone missed our introductions and you wanted to put in the chat another something we did ask that possibly before you joined us is where you, your name, where you might be joining us from. If you're a student or with an organization, you can go ahead and put that in the chat as well. And now there is some questions coming in. Branson
Cool.
says, what is the age requirement?
For the performance crew, the professional trail crew, we start at age 15. If you're under 18, there is a guardian authorization for summer work that you'll have to complete, and that's also on the website.
Thank you. And another question, someone's inquiring, do you have an idea of, excuse me one second, an idea of where you'll be doing interviews in Okanagan? Can you tell us about interviewing?
Yeah, this year we typically will meet with students in their area and we'll do a group interview. But with the pandemic situation, we're going to just do virtual interviews from this point till the foreseeable future anyway. So anybody who's going to be interviewing will be doing it virtually. Hopefully that works out for folks.
Perfect. Thank you. Another question is, what kinds of tools do you utilize?
Well, that's a good question. We use a series of dirt work tools. There's the Rogue Beast, which has a big chopper hoe on it and a little axe head on the other side for chopping roots, and Pulaski's, McLeod's. A lot of the tools we use are also wildland firefighting tools for dirt work. And then for corridor maintenance, which is taking care of the plant life that grows in or around the trail, we use loppers and hand saws. Our certified crew leaders use chainsaws where permitted. And then in the wilderness, we also use crosscut saws. I think that covers pretty much all the family of tools that we typically use to maintain a trail.
Perfect. Yeah, covers a few, I bet. Thanks, Kristen. Another question in the chat is, can you briefly describe what training is provided?
For crew members, it's just going to be all on the job training from your crew leaders. And we have a lot of resources, including ones that you can find if you dug around. You don't have to dig that far, but on our jobs page, under the headings for each of the crew member positions, there's a little trail maintenance and construction handbook, which is produced by the Forest Service, but it's a really sort of entertaining and short read, and it provides you with a very good overview of just kind of, I guess, trail 101, trail theory, and introduction to some of the tools. So anybody who's sort of a self-starter who enjoys studying and learning on their own, there are resources for kind of boosting and accelerating your learning curve.
Perfect, thank you.
We have a few on Facebook Live. What is your favorite part of the Pacific Northwest Trails Association?
Of the trail or the association?
What is your favorite part of the PNTA?
Yeah. If we're talking about the association, I would say my trail crews, of course. That's what I'm all about here. And if we're talking about the trail, full disclosure, I haven't walked the whole thing. I experienced the trail through Trail Crew. It's my favorite way to experience the trail. And I haven't gone past the Pasayten Wilderness myself, and I haven't gone into the Idaho or Montana sections yet either. So I guess I have a lot of love for the Pasayten Wilderness section. That's where I cut my teeth as a trail crew leader. So there's a lot of affection for that. I don't know, I love all of it really, other than the road walks, which we'll work on getting rid of over the years.
And our other
every spot's different.
Oh yeah. The other one that's on here, what type of safety trainings do you offer?
Daily and repetitively throughout the day as needed. There's a daily safety meeting. We have a pretty comprehensive job hazard analysis and injury and illness prevention manual that crew members are totally free to dive into if they're big on reading. But the crew leaders will use that to guide the training. They'll provide you on the job. They'll give you some core safety training at the beginning of the job, and then they'll be reviewing and building upon that safety training each morning at your daily stretch and safety meetings. And then again, anytime, like I said, if there's any close calls or incidents or just anything that just sort of raises a subject of different hazards out there, your crew leaders will cover them over and over again.
Thank you. And then in our Zoom chat, we have a few more questions. Christy asks, how many trail crew positions are you looking to fill for this season?
Yeah, good question. Right now, it's a little bit up in the air, depending on a potential partnership that we might be able to build with another program, which would allow us to hire 3 more people. But typically, there are 3 crew members per crew, and we will be hiring 3 crews this year. So we're looking at least 6 to 9 positions this year. Which is big. We're growing this year. We're adding the whole 3rd crew to our region, and yeah, we're just gradually growing year by year.
Thank you. And a couple more questions. Does a health condition like asthma automatically deny a hire?
Oh, definitely not. We've had folks with asthma. We've had folks with bee sting allergies, and those are definitely things that we're going to be on high alert for, and you'll need to bring your inhaler. If you have an allergy, you'll need to bring your EpiPen. But no, definitely not.
Perfect. That's incredible. And then on Facebook Live, a question here. Do crews move around to different cities during the employment period?
We spend very little time in towns. You will pause in town briefly to and from the work site as you get picked up and go to the work site. Maybe you'll have some last minute things that your crew needs to pick up for groceries or supplies, but you pretty much don't spend a lick of time in civilization once you hit that road.
And then you move from area to area. And
yeah, you'll go to one project site for your work week. So you won't be necessarily moving around during your work week, but during the course of your season on the job, you could go anywhere in our region, from the Washington-Idaho border all the way to the state and wilderness. So it's really a great way to get to explore the region that you live in or the region that you're visiting while you work in, and just really sort of sink into it and get more familiar with the landscape.
Perfect. Thank you. And then how many people are in a crew?
5 people total for a performance crew. There's your 2 crew leaders and your 3 crew members. Occasionally, we do offer opportunities for volunteers to drop in and boost or assist or experience the trail crew experience with the professional crew. And it's usually no more than 2 people volunteering with the performance crew.
Thank you. Do you need to have any special items like steel boots, anything else one might have to have?
Yeah, you'll see in the job description, there's a list of required attire, essentially required clothing. We recommend, well, you definitely need to have a comfortable hiking boot. You don't need to have logger boots or steel toe boots or anything like that. Highly don't recommend those options. You want a comfortable hiking boot, one that covers your ankles and supports your ankles during the hike, but also covers so that in case you accidentally goof with your tool, you've got a little bit of protection there on your ankles. And also we highly recommend waterproof boots, because you'll appreciate having just sweaty socks instead of wet socks. Other requirements are long pants, work pants, something that you don't mind getting dirty, possibly ripped in the course of the season. I would suggest something looser rather than skin tight pants for your comfort, and a long sleeve work shirt. Long sleeve work shirts are required clothing for the job. And we've had people who just wear like a long sleeve crew shirt over their undershirt, but I would highly recommend you find something like a cotton blend that's a button up shirt with a collar, so that you can moderate your temperature with the buttons, and you can flip up your collar to protect your neck against the sun until you get your sunscreen on, that kind of jazz. But other than that, there's camp gear that you'll need. But again, we have a gear library. So if you were definitely not able to afford to pick up some of those essential camp gear items from the pack list, we might be able to cover that need.
Okay, perfect. And just to reiterate, each job description has a list for the
Correct.
position of what would be completely required.
Totally, yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then as of this moment, just one last, a couple more questions. Can this work help to prepare someone for future work with the Forest Service? Ooh,
Absolutely.
Question.
Lots of people get their start in the Forest Service as a ground crew member with the trail crew, for sure. Yeah.
Awesome. And then Branson asks, are meals provided by PNWT, Pacific Northwest Trails Association?
We provide the meals whenever you're going to a job work week that takes you out, and it's pretty much 100% of the time, takes you out to go live next to your work site for the week. We provide the meals. We have a budget to go shopping with, and the crew leaders prepare a meal plan. If crew members have any sort of allergies or dietary restrictions, we take those into account with our meal planning, and the crew leaders generally take the lead on meal preparation, while crew members handle other chores around camp.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And that question was asked again, so we covered that to answer Dela.
We do have one more on Facebook Live, and you might have already covered this, but how many people are in a crew?
Yep, we've got 5 people per crew. We've got 2 crew leaders, 3 crew members, and occasionally maybe up to 2 volunteers might drop in temporarily. Cool.
Perfect. That is it.
Covered it all. Yeah. I want to go back really quick on the question about what's my favorite part of the trail. And I just want to point out something that's really cool and unique about this job that I really appreciate is that when you go out on a job, you're typically taking care of one section of trail for that whole period that you're there, that 8-day period. So you might see that same 5 miles of trail day in and day out, getting closer and closer to the trailhead as each day goes by. So it's really cool because you get intimately familiar with that trail and its surroundings and the environment there in a way that you just can't do when you're just blowing by as a hiker or a backpacker, which is what I really love about Trail Crew. All right, that's all. That's my last plug. We can take it away from there. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, if we don't have any more questions in chat or on Facebook Live, I would just like to say thank you so very much for joining us today, for everybody who's joined us today. And thank you to Tammy McBride and the Apple STEM Network for your continued partnership on these events. And thank you so much to Kristen Ackerman from the Pacific Northwest Trail Association. If you are interested in attending a future Meet the Employer, please check out the WorkSource WA calendar or the Apple STEM Network Facebook page to register in advance for any of our upcoming events. Next Tuesday at 10 a.m., we will be joined by the Human Resources Manager of Sun Mountain Lodge, located in beautiful Twist, Washington.
And to stay up to tune and up to date with everything, don't forget to subscribe with us on our YouTube channel, which is the Apple STEM Network Career Connect Washington North Central YouTube channel. This is the bit.ly, and I can put that in the chat. We have all of the recordings for all of the virtual Meet the Employer events, as well as other career panels and career connected learning resources. I put that in the chat for you.
And one last reminder, for our very last slide, we just wanted to thank everyone again that joined us today. Our local WorkSource staff are always here to help you with any job search assistance that you may need. We'd love it if anybody who is in attendance here today would like to reach out to us directly to schedule a one-on-one appointment. If you would like assistance with applying for any of these positions, our local contact number is on this slide. Have a great afternoon, and thank you again for joining us, everyone.
Thank you.
Again, in the chat, we put the link to register for all of the other events. So thanks for joining. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.